Yes, it is. I'm back, everybody. Sorry about that. I had to unmute myself. You know what? It happens to the best of us, and apparently the worst as well. We are back here with the Call of Duty Challenges Community Broadcast. Going to go through the whole spiel very quickly here. Apologies for the delay. We're back into another game here. We're waiting for the winners bracket final. So while we wait for that, we're going to go down to the lower bracket. Now, just a heads up for you guys. What you're seeing right now is LIJS versus KC Pioneers. For those of you with half a brain, you'll know that this is not KC Pioneers. This is actually CTE. So we're kind of rolling with the punches here. We just wanted to get into a match.
Now that we have a map going underway, it's pretty much tied as we look to rotate to P2. It's going to be CTE wrapping on the back, trying to get spawns as they look to try to take any control of this hill and look to garner themselves a lead. A good gunfight going the way of ProLoot. That'll at least clear the front side of things for now, but the second push quickly on, and as much as we thought they were going to get control of time, it's going to be LIJS from the front, holding and locking it down.
Yeah. LIJS now looking for some kind of control here. They will momentarily get it. And now looking for some kind of time here. Gunzy in control of the hard point. Spar looking to, Capsule, excuse me, just looking to try to get this one through. And uncharacteristically here, LIJS are in control from the back line. So this is actually a pretty crucial bit of control for them.
It is, as they look to capitalize on majority this time, which they will. As this hardpoint looks to rotate over to P3, the top side of the map, and again, they have themselves about a 30-point lead going into rotation. Flames, obviously, off to a hot start, a 10-3 on a 4 spree as well, looking to garner some streaks, and that's going to be a clean kill feed, just missing one player as they look to lock down time early. Now, everyone spawning in and around armor, or ammo. Going to try to push for this time. A player mid-map and cap going to try to make some waves, but again, that power position top art is so hard to get a player out of. They're still garnering time for now as everyone else gets wiped away.
LIJS, they would under control. They're not going to get it, though. They might well be happy, though, for the rotation towards Nu if they can hold it. It's worth saying those split spawns at the moment is relatively problematic, even more so now as Illy's the only one up on the correct side of the map towards Nu. They're swiftly removed by the kill coming out from Spar. And KC Pioneers now looking for a bit of control over this hardpoint. And, of course, they've got that crucial control towards the next hardpoint, which can be, given how sticky those spawns are, Cash, a bit of a money hill.
Quite a bit of a money hill if you get a good setup. Now, if you let LIJS cross the map and look to get in a position where they can apply pressure early, it definitely can be broken quickly. And again, so many of these eyes turn towards the last few seconds of P3, maybe trying to see if players look to cross, but that's not going to be the case. So Flames, though he had the opportunity to take that lane quickly and push ahead, he does not, opts to wait for his teammates. So early time going to go the way of CTE as they look to push back this 30-point lead, try to overtake the lead themselves as Fire starting to get rowdy in and around mid-map, along with Flames, waiting for the moment to push. You're trying to see if Gunzy can win this gunfight, and he can't. So for now, Flames has slipped the line. He's trying to find this gunfight win and isn't able to. That's 4 down in the feed. Now you can take up space on the map, and now you can get to your spots.
Yeah, that's so crucial for KC Pioneers to make that one happen. ProLoot now on 5 in a row off the back of this potential scrap time control. I say scrap control. 30 seconds is a lot of time. Scrap time control. Still,
it depends on the map, man.
It is true. CTE, excuse me, not KC Pioneers. CTE, it's going to get me, man. CTE in control for the back 30 seconds here, and I think LIJS have kind of forfeited it. They're like, yeah, we're not going to bother going for that one. Instead, we'll set ourselves up for the rotation towards Nu, and that's exactly what they've done. Now, you know, P1 is a bit of a messy hard point, so they'll definitely try to get some early control here. The subs up top, what can they get done? Fire on the hunt for some kills. Unfortunately, falling foul to a 2-piece alongside his teammate in Illy. So technically speaking, CT should get first look at this hill.
And that they're looking to do. Everyone's sprouting the outside for LIJS now, just trying to work their picks and find an opening that they can apply pressure through. Nothing's going to be given to them just yet. It's 2 for 1 in the feed, but you have no mid-map presence or pressure if you're LIJS. So this time, continuing to go the way of CTE. You had a 30-point deficit that you're able to close back with P4 if you are CTE. Now you're looking to extend that to a 20-point lead as LIJS just on the outside looking in, finally get a kill feed to go their way and look to get a little more pressure around the map as they have P1 control. Looking to try to keep this a tied game going into P2. Still 20 seconds to fight over. I don't expect CTE to give this up easily, but you can see they are leaning towards this right-hand side of the map trying to work for spawns.
Right now, CTE getting the vast majority of the gunfights here. There's only really one more player towards a backline to contend with, and you immediately deal with them. But as I've said in the past here with this hard point, sometimes fighting this one with the back spawns can actually be disadvantageous. It can be very easy to spawn trap players in towards that backline. So CT have to be very careful here that they do not get removed from this hard point. And already the kills starting to light up in favor of LIJS here. ProLute with a nice double coming through. That's going to be a good bit of control for him. He already has that LDBR in the back pocket as well at 17-9. ProLute is having a hell of a game. And while a couple of players from LIJS do manage to touch towards the hardpoint, for the most part here, Cash, it is going to be CTE doing a really good job of holding those back spawns and hardpoint control.
Now, I see the split spawn coming in, but it's going to be Hook aware of the fact that someone could be in the back, so able to find that kill, clean things up, and like you said, they have control of the hard point, now looking to continue extending their lead up to about 40 points or so, still with 15 seconds to fight for. You get the spawns in the back, but you're going to give up the scrap time. LIJS, they're going to try to get these power positions, going to try to get themselves in a spot to acquire and accrue early P3 time. They weren't quite able to the last go-around, even though they had rotation, so they're going to try to correct those mistakes this go-around.
That kill's now being made by LIJS as well, as you said. An opportunity here for LIJS to not just get this time, but follow it up with a 1-2 punch of this hill and the next. But they need to win the gunfights. Illy up top, providing overwatch, trying to get some team shots through alongside Fire. Fire really the only one on LIJS to find any value whatsoever is now CTE. They are on their way towards the point, but again, the long-range AR of Illy has something to prove here on LIJS. Can only find one kill, though. An immediate shutdown and a full blue kill feed here. This is great if you're a CTE.
It is, because it just continues to keep that stiff arm of a lead that they've had. LIJS, they get in good spots. They're able to find some kills, but when that wave of CTE comes through, they just don't have anything to counteract that. A good push through mid-map at least counteracts time for the moment. Now, a 1v1 to dictate this last bit of scrap time. Going to be taken, at least by Fire, but you talked about it when the hill popped, right? They wanted to keep control of that left-hand side of the map to chain, you know, the potential amount of time they could get on P3 into P4, and that's just not the case, at least at the moment. 3 for 1 in the feed. The spawns do flip, so that information is going to be up for CTE to take. Now, you have to go through, you have to find flames and do your due diligence. Otherwise, this hill could be spoiler.
I don't think they found him whatsoever. Flames very much made himself aware of what was going on, and he will pick up that gunfight. So now LIJS in control. They might have momentarily lost it, but they are right back in the driver's seat of this hard point, and they're looking for a wave of gunfights to keep CTE at bay. Only one player managed to slip the net thus far. That's ProLute. Keep an eye on the rest of the players, though, on their way as well. A couple more kills now starting to come through. ProLute could do some real damage around the backline here. Can he find Fire? Yes, he can. Also has the help. It's a synchronized hit from CTE as they break for the back 20 seconds.
And really, the tale of this hard point, a good bit of moments, has been the fact that CTE are pretty handedly outslaying LIJS. You have really one player on the team in Fire that's positive, and that's only by a couple kills. And again, that's not to say KD is the most telling part of the story, but they aren't winning the gunfights they need to retain hardpoint control, is more so what I'm getting at with this. So as we go into our third bout of hardpoints, fortunately, they find themselves only down 40 or 50 points. Now, they need to find a way to, again, piece together these kills, play a little better off one another, because CTE, that's where they're finding success.
Right now, there's 50-point advantages that CTE have built up. They're looking to extend it with P1 control and a little bit of help from Huke, who will double up. You have to question whether Huke should be in challenges with how dominant of a player he is. He is showing up to play at the moment. 28 and 17. Make it 29. Surely not number 30. Stop feeding Huke. KC Pioneers, or CT, excuse me, are going off on an absolute tear right now. And the sub-pressure from the likes of Huke and ProLute is exactly the reason why.
Now, you just need a few moments to close this out. You've eclipsed the 200-point mark, and maybe Hook's big play could have been the nail in the coffin, at least starting to look like that, as you've nearly gotten yourself a 100-point lead in this one. You've got the back spawns working towards you, but like you said, LIJS, they haven't been successful at holding it, and these back spawns can be detrimental at times if you don't play it properly. Cap might be able to find great timing here for a kill, isn't able to, so Illy keeps the back spawn safe. Now, waiting to group up for this front push. ProLute kicks it off as they look to march forward.
Yeah, you cannot die here, though. 2 players going down here for LIJS, and now they might find themselves in the blender. Huke heating up once again. Just how many sprees is he going to go on? Unfortunately, I think look too deep into the spawn and will flip those spawns out. Regardless, though, it is worth saying, CT, they could still finish things here, and as the kill feed continues to light up blue, they might just do exactly that.
Oh, and I think Hook is just playing an absolute flow state right now. I mean, the way he is making reads around the map, challenging and taking and winning, more importantly, every single gunfight. They can still put this one away here, and so long as Hook has, doesn't matter, Jackal aim is in his hand, he is still finding a way to piece and get things done. Died on a near 10 spree, now on an 8 spree. I cannot believe he's just, you know, farming in this manner, because this one looks to be done and dusted.
Yeah, it's not going to finish here, but all I can say at this point, at this point in the game, at this point even in the series, at this point even in challenges for 2025. Get this man out of challenges. 41 kills, Hugh. Are you kidding me? As CTE take map number 1 in a commanding fashion here in the lower bracket against LIJS.
That just masterclass might not even be. That was just so impressive. I mean, again, you talk about these players that are still here in challengers and making waves. Of course, there's always the talks of who should be in challengers, who should be on a team, and that's kind of the situation you find yourself in with just 48 players being in the pro league. So it's a tough situation, but Hook making his case for one of those early moves that maybe some of the CDO teams might look to make. Regardless, just doing his typical things that we've come to see the last couple of years from him, of course, in his tenure in the competitive scene. Disgusting. Again, I'm not saying he carried his team to that win because they all played well around him. He just had his moment there towards the end where he could not be killed. I think total went on 17 kills, unkilled, maybe with one death. So yeah, just couldn't be traded, was running that pool side of the map, and that pretty much secured the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like he was having like that blazing of a start to the game, right? He was playing well, mind you, but I think ProLoot was the one that came out the gate swinging for a CTE. It was actually in the second half of the game, right? You talk about that kind of that spree towards Paul, and certainly the one that we saw towards the end of the game where Heat was basically like, oh, hey, these guys are spawning in the back line. You guys can go right towards your next respawn point super duper quick. And then immediately turned and span towards players trying to approach from the pool side. Hugh was reading the map incredibly well. And again, this is one of those conversation points I'm sure that we're going to be kind of bringing ourselves back to as we move through the season. Hugh is just one of those players that it's kind of a joke that he's in challenges, given just how prominent of a player he absolutely is. There's a reason that people call him Hugh the Nuke, because he was dropping nukes on the foreheads of LIJS there in game number 1. So phenomenal performance there from the subs on CTE is going to give them the map number 1 victory over LIJS. Next up then, I'm going to surprise everyone. I'm going to give everyone an audio jump scare, as it were. We're going back to Vault. It's going to be another Vault for map number 2, which is always going to be a fun time. And I think if your subs are firing on all cylinders, it's going to give them a massive advantage in winning those first bloods going into this S&B.
Yeah, we've seen a Vault earlier today on stream where, again, aggression out of the subs was the name of the game, just finding out when to push that tempo and when to get yourselves in a spot to, both offensively and defensively, right, get down into lower Vault and look to stick that bomb. Saw a couple of instances where maybe it worked towards the B site, but it really was on the hands of the submachine gun players to kind of get things pushed forward, and then your ARs found their spots after that. So I expect Hook, especially the S&D star that he is and can be, to really kind of take over in this map number 2. But again, you look to ProLoot, you look to everyone else and what they were able to do in map number 1. It's really going to be a well-distributed work effort from them. There's no one that's going to have to carry more than their share. So if they do, it's just because they're popping off. And that's not to completely discredit what LIJS is able to do. You think of Illy on the other side, and that's 2/3 of the Zeo trio that find themselves in challengers right now and just grew up being S&D stars. So Illy's going to have something in response. He's going to try to rally the troops as well. You just find yourself down 0-1, but this is going to be a big search and destroy to kind of shift the tides of the series one way or the other.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. It's just crazy. I always say this in regards to challenges, but it's never been more true, and I think it's been getting consistently more true of North American challenges in particular. Where it's just like, you look at this lobby, and it's just the amount of talent here. It's just actually insane. Obviously, you and I have had a chance to cast the likes of Spart and ProLoot in challenges over the last few years pretty consistently, and Capstor's been kind of dipping his toes in and out of challenges over the last few years as well. The fact that now we've got Hugh joining in on that lineup is just an insane roster, and if you put them in almost any other region, they would absolutely dominate. Maybe there's a question about what they do in Europe. Maybe there'd be a little bit of competition there, but it's just insane. And then you look towards the other side as well, and you've got Illy in challenges. Illy is playing in challenges, for heaven's sake. Like, what are we doing here? And some of those players again, like Flames, who actually had a pretty good Modern Warfare 3 season, I should say. It's just, it is an insane lobby, and you look towards both of these two teams, and it's a shame that we're going to lose one right here and lose this round 2, because again, a reminder that there's no safety net anymore. You're done and dusted if you lose this matchup. Your cut number 1 is over. So just an insane lobby to look at.
It really is. I mean, especially at this point on a Sunday, fighting for T8 and above. It's just interesting to note that, again, majority of these lobbies have been pro players or even substitutes on CDL teams. So again, talking about the talent, that's not to snub anyone outside of T8, of course, but this is what you expect come early on in the year and cup number 1, kind of those players continuing to make waves and, again, plead their case for being on one of those teams. But looking at Sunday and this cup as a whole, barring Brack & Co. not making Sunday, is there any team's performance today? I know you've kind of been on the EU side of things, but is there any team today that stood out to you that at least you've been able to see?
Dude, it's so difficult. I'm just trying to like rack the brains a little bit. I haven't really seen much of Omid Brooklyn. I know they're currently in the upper bracket final. We're waiting to see if we can jump in with that one. That team is super impressive to me. Just looking at kind of the lineup, right, of like Mercules being. I always love like the storylines of, all right, here's a player that's making like kind of their first impression. I know Mercules, technically speaking, there's an asterisk on that because he did play towards the end of the season, but like a player that making his first impression. Always love those storylines, and I think that's probably the most emboldened of the lot. I know we have those conversations about like maybe Stallions to a certain extent and Derek on DTG as well. But I love that team for that kind of story. Neptune obviously back in challengers and just seeing what those guys have been doing. It's not like, I mean, to me, A, it looks like they haven't missed a beat if you're talking about Neptune, and B, it looks like those guys, if you're talking about Mercules, he's just been here for the longest time. He's basically better at this point, the way that he's playing the game. Love that team, love what they've been doing, and excited to watch them in the upper bracket final. For now, though, we're going to continue on with LIJS versus CTE. We've got the names right this time around, guys. Shout out to our wonderful observer, Megan, for getting that one sorted. However, in towards the SMD we go. It's not quite as aggressive an offense as I would have expected from LIJS.
Trying to slow pit, maybe find a couple of picks. They do open up with first blood, but that is quickly responded with 2 kills and toe. Illy able to make things a 2-2 stretch and fire with the movement. I don't know how he evades that gunfight, pulls the knife out, ends up getting away. So a brilliant job just trying to make sure he doesn't leave Illy in a 1v situation. The exploding band's going to give a little intel that he's still over here. Going to try to regroup here. A Spark. Let's try to sniff this player out, and he is going to end up getting timing. Illy left in a 1 versus 2.
If anybody can do it, it's Illy. Known for search and destroy. 1 versus 1. Getting away, reveal position, it doesn't matter. Illy not able to get the 1 versus 1 done. CTE opening this one with the dub.
They get blooded initially, but they strike back with 2 quick kills. In the 2v2, the players play a little bit split, but again, just find the timing on Illy. Hook gonna get that kill as well. Feeling good about this round number 1 and how it went for you. But like you said, LHS, they opted to play that offense slow. Maybe something we see switch up the next time they get around there. But now we'll get to see CTE and how they look to approach this. Generally leaning towards the A site, but we'll see the pace with which they push this.
All right, CTE starting strong. Can they follow up with the offensive victory? They've stolen away defense away from LIJS, and they don't have anybody competing with them for site control. So the rock's going to be planted. LIJS instead fighting this one for a retake, and Illy finding value around the flank is everything, but he's been spotted, and that makes things more awkward.
Able to reposition. They're trying to find a kill. Holy Spark connect for a couple. Gunzy tries to get in the mix. Flames gets taken down now, so all of a sudden you find yourself in a 1v3 with bomb down. It's quite the situation to be stuck in. Now you just wait for the players to surround you. You are able to pick one before going down, but again, just in a situation where, not much to be done there. You simply get outnumbered, find yourself in a man disadvantage, and tough to bounce back from that.
Yeah, I think, again, we'll continually see this, but as we move on through the season, but I think it's never been more true early season when everything feels a little bit more one-dimensional. Vault Search and Destroy at the moment is just who can get into the site first and maintain control of the site, and letting CT into the site like that was not a good idea for LIJS. Just not really much competition on A site whatsoever. So CT rocking with it through the first couple of rounds here. Let's see if they can steal yet another defense away from LIJS, who are, again, surprise, surprise, going straight towards A. Huke through the middle of the map, though, is about to put a blender on the map, and they have absolutely no idea the storm that's about to hit them.
Lying in wait. Trying to make a move. Hook finds one. And now the push looks to come in through the front. It's stacked up with numbers, but now the bait and switch, the slide going to come in. You're able to find kills, but you line up for a couple. Spart at least able to get the trade quickly. Now a 1 versus 2 last alive, deciding whether or not to hop the bomb. You have numbers. You still have enough time to work with. The shots ring out.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for Illy. If he does, I know you kind of almost have to pre-fire in that moment, right? Because the water's so murky, you can't see where that last remaining player is. You don't know if somebody's on the bombs. Illy, really no choice in that moment to try and get the pre-fire through and stop the bomb, but he doesn't take those shots. There is all the chance in the world that he wins that round.
Such a tough spot to be in as well, because you're also in a 1 versus 2, crispy clean shots out of pro loot. And again, it's just a tough spot for LA, like you said, with the amount of time left, with how dark and hard it is to see into lower vault. You'd love to have not taken the shots there, but with that loss, you find yourself down 0-3. Again, being outplayed a fair amount by CTE here. Just find yourself some first bloods. Play around your numbers, and you could be sitting much, much better, but Cap's going to open up with 1. Another quick answer. Now what do they do with this advantage?
You've got a man advantage for LIGS, just don't chuckle it. And I will say, if you're going to chuckle it to anybody so far in this series, it's probably going to be Hugh. As I say it, though, the caster curse comes through. Hugh gets shut down. Now down to Spart. Now, Spart has made this somewhat more palatable. He's picked up 1 player, but anticipating a push from elsewhere. Not going to anticipate the push from his right and will get shut down. So, LIGS, they're on the board here, Cash.
Get themselves around. Much needed at that. Stop the bleeding a little bit. Just a 2-round deficit here, and again, keep that man advantage, which is what most important. Kind of gives you a breath of relief as you can work around the map knowing you're not outnumbered at most any turn. Illy out to 4-3 to kick things off on a 2 spree coming into this round. No one on 2 spree. Crazy of a KD to start things off. No crazy big plays. Just a couple good time management moments and situation management. We'll see if for LIJS anyone can have a big pop-off here.
Yep. Again, now you're seeing that aggression. CTE know how important it is to get control of A site before things even get going. And you take that 1-for-1 trade, right? A 3 versus 3 with a bomb slap bang in the middle of the map. All the advantage in favor of CTE here. And you can just lock this site down, Cash.
That's exactly what they plan to do. You're going to get the bait and switch to swing out. Spart, I thought a team kill was absolutely going to bring out there, but the slide comes in. Able to stop that from happening, but over the top guns, he's going to find a couple. Or flames, excuse me. Oh!
How can you let that happen? That is such massive over-aggression from CT. I mean, we were talking about them locking the site down, right? Just sitting inside the site, not pushing whatsoever. And instead, they run right into flames for 3. That's unfortunate.
Beyond. Going into the round, said who for LIJS is going to make a big play, and there you have it, served on a silver platter. I enjoy when COD players kind of bring to fruition any statement that comes out of my mouth. So, case in point, Flames with a big play. Now they take it to a 1-round advantage for CTE. So again, that's going to be boosting confidence out to 6-4 as well. We'll see how they opt to play around this spree, see if you can get RCXD on board, but Hook opens up with the first blood. I mean, just the Reaper against LIJS.
Nice trade, though, from Flames. Feeling hot. Pun not intended. At the end of that round. Now down to a 3 versus 3. Spart has been found out by Illy. The aggression, you can tell LIJS are starting to feel themselves here. Caps and Hugh split up for the 2 versus 3, and Fire has just been given information as to where that player was. The call out to the teammate is made, but the gunfights are not. Now down to a 1v1. Fire versus Caps, and Caps will come out on top. CTE eke out around despite that early aggression from LIJS.
Get a good one on the board, a good and big 1v1 for Cap to win. And that timing can get so funky when you're sliding around, and it almost feels like if you don't turn the corner and slide and see him on the first one, the same situation player for LIJS was. It is so hard to try to find that timing and get back in sorts again. But again, Cap, same thing, able to walk away with it. And like you said, that 2-round spree they were on, able to get themselves back out to a 2-round lead, up 4-2.
All right, CTE, they put a stop to the bleeding. Momentum perhaps swinging back in their favor here. LIJS, I believe they've got control of the site. I was going to say uncontested here. Prolute has other ideas, though, and he's feeling the momentum, flying right out into the open pool and does not get punished for it. So again, the situation here, you are in a 3 versus 3. This is fine if you're on the defense, and it's all gone. Never mind. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Now we're going to watch a little bit of Toy Story here with the RCXD coming in, and Flames going to have that taken down. Gunsy going to try to push behind it. Having a quiet series, but sitting at 5-5. 2 versus 1 Cap. Now just trying to figure out what kind of timing he can find around this A site. But again, you know someone's got to be playing Outer Palms. Gonna get that information. Now gonna take the sub, get up close and personal, and try to get site control. Doesn't get site control.
Oh man, that is tough. We've been kind of caster cursing a lot of people today, Cash. I really think we need to stop, mate. Absolutely crazy. Not good.
Yeah, no, it's kind of ridiculous. Casters get timing too. We get bad COD timing.
We get bad COD timing. We get the arguably worse COD timing than the players. I'm not sure the players would argue that, but we definitely do get bad COD timing.
But we definitely would.
Well, regardless, CTE still have their advantage right now. 4-3 up in this search and destroy. LIJS have been eking their way back in. Guns eating flames. Big reasons why. Gunsy currently sitting at 6-5 on 3 in a row over the last couple of rounds. Whether or not those nades over the top can put a stop to the early aggression from CTE. The route, of course, edited ever so slightly so that these players can make their way in from the top window side. Question for me is whether LIJS will be there. Caps with a peek. I don't think actually saw fire up close. So LIJS here still have the element of surprise ready for this first blood drawing. And if you're Caps, do not try and get the bomb down. Attempt to come in from behind enemy lines from one player is immediately shut down. You've got numbers. Stop playing over aggressive here. Huke stuck between these last two.
And that's just so tough because you almost body block in a sense as well. The lineup, they're fortunate it didn't happen. Like you said, 2 versus 1. Hook found himself in an awkward situation after the dust settled with that. Illy now out and with his life. Trying to get the outer palms. I mean, again, really so many positions you can play in and around these sites, but in an unorthodox fashion, bomb does go down over at B, and if anyone's going to rip someone off of a heady, leave it to Illy. Spart wisely backs down. Now as he looks to rework the site and try to see if he can find an opening pick.
Yeah, again, I keep on saying it, and maybe to a caster curse effect, anyone's going to do it. It's going to be Illy, and unfortunately not really a lot of cover to work with there in that situation to actually come out on top. So 1 versus 2, not happening for Illy. And I got to say, it does feel like there's certain moments here where maybe LIJS are giving themselves the advantage and getting ever so slightly over-aggressive towards CTE. Certainly saw that inside the A site there. So CTE now, an opportunity to put themselves 2-0 up in this series. Just one more search and destroy round would do it. They're on the defense to get it done.
As you said, a good opportunity to close this one out here. Taking advantage. Here go the nades. Off spawn, we'll see if they connect to anything. Trophy going down at the B side as well. Spart looks to be the one to play over here. Again, just slow working. Cap maybe trying to get aggressive. And again, you get into the site. It's just so unfortunate that you cannot get a timing against this team. They slow play the initial break. You think you have site control, and Hook, in worst nightmare fashion, drops down and pops a 2-piece here. Now Illy in a 1 versus 4. Brody, I'll steal your line if anyone can do it.
How many times?
Now that we've worn that statement into the dirt, it looks to be over for Illy. 45 seconds to work with. Bomb down in A. They know it. It's just, simply put, we'll see if he can make this in any way entertaining, but this one looks to be done and dusted.
Wow, is this like a secret attempt at a reverse caster curse? You're saying he can't do it, so now he will do it? Is that what we're going for here?
Yeah, no, this is what, I tried to hit the Uno reverse.
Well.
Alas.
Well,
the odds were stronger than my curse.
Yes, we tried. We really did, Illy. We apologize, but no cigar for you and no 1v4 for you either. CTE looking really strong there. Look at the final kill cam. We can see it from ProLoot's POV. Just need to try and find out where Illy was. I think there might have been a bit of team shots to take that one down, or just the AMS is a really strong weapon. I think it might be a little bit of the latter as well. Really strong search and destroy from CTE. And, you know, again, it sounds like a very basic analysis here, although I suppose that's not what I'm here for. That's what you're here for, Cash. A little bit of a basic analysis here. But, you know, ultimately, I do feel like so much of Vault search and destroy comes down to who can win those opening bloods inside a site, because that is the site that, generally speaking, defines things. And outside of a couple of clutch plays like that 3-piece that we saw from Flames, I believe it was, early on for LIJS, it was just the sub pressure that came through and won those opening gunfights and got site control for CTE.
Yeah, just so much of the submachine gun play is, again, in and around P1 and Vault hallway. You don't see many people pushing outer P3 palms. Of course, with the A site, you see people playing outer palms to kind of overlook the bomb site. But yeah, a lot of those are submachine gun fights, and with the Jackal having the range that it does, you feel a little better taking some of those more mid to long range fights. But it really is just the submachine gun tempo, and can you find timing? And that's not even off of, you know, rip, sometimes knowing when to play slow, when to play fast, but also in the mid round we saw, even in that last round, what did we see? Hook, they slow played it, let them think they had the site for free, and when when they collapsed, even though 2 people were also in Vault. One was planting the bomb. So a freebie at the very least, and it just simply quicker than you could realize left Illy in a 1v4, bomb all the way across the map. So it's really about finding good timings and when to play those timings around the map. CTE had that figured out, and unfortunately for Illy and Co, they just couldn't get anything going, couldn't find secure footing.
Yep. Well, I mean, look, CTE now 2-0 up in this best of 5. They need to throw some variety in this series, I feel like. And, well, do I have bad news for them? Because there's not going to be any variety, baby. We're going straight to Vault for map number 3. Let's show you guys the map set. I believe we haven't get that one ready for you guys here in just a moment to show you guys what the hell this map set looks like. Because, yeah, it's all Vault all day long. Vault 24/7. Treyarch, if you're listening, get it into the playlist right now because that's what these players like, apparently.
Not a lot of options for control. So yeah, we'll find ourselves on Vault. And like you said, we need a 24/7 playlist running. Get these players in it for some 8s. Either way, control going to be on deck. We've seen this map quite a few times today, and it's going to play just a little bit differently for control. Again, across each mode ride, it's not going to have its 1-for-1 matchups with how it's played. Control, obviously, going to play a bit more like the hard point, given that it's a respawn, but so much of it has to do with map control towards the top side this time. You see a lot of teams go towards the A side initially because it's easier, and the B side's really just a skip outside the door, but it is so challenging. You have such a defensive advantage with that art heady in that top balcony to be able to keep these players off. And having, if you don't have mid-map covered, again, you just get shot in the back and flanked out of the B site. So we saw earlier KC Pioneers in a round 5 offense went straight for B, found the kills on the opening break and secured that site. I hope to see, as this game matures, teams kind of take that B look off rip. I think Alex called back to it as like a hotel control where, again, there can just be so much pressure on deep spawns that really influence how the control is played. So we'll see how they look to come out on the break. Again, without trophies in round 1, going towards all those exploding trucks is definitely a hard call. So imagine an A push, at least in round 1. But either team, again, just looking to find those timings of submachine guns. You have to know where Hookah is at all times here if you are Illy and Co, because he can absolutely play spoiler. But unfortunately, he's not the only one. You look to Prolu and other players of the sorts to, again, continue pushing things forward for CTE. And I fully believe that Illy and Co can bring this one back. It's just seemed a little discombobulated and uncoordinated at times. And these players have the talent to be able to do that. But again, they need to find a way to string it together in a way that, best counteracts how CTE's been playing.
Yeah, and I don't think the map pick helps them in any way. Like, I know we've kind of, I guess, talked about the fact that there's not a lot of choice here, right? You're either playing St. Petrograd 2.0 in protocol control, or you're playing Vault. And I think, if you're talking about, all right, here's a map that plays into AR prowess, here's a map that plays into SMG prowess, I certainly wouldn't want to be going against the SMGs on Vault. If the first couple of maps haven't convinced you of that against CT in this series thus far, doing a Vault a third time is certainly not going to. And I know, obviously, you're never really thinking, when you're in the map veto process, like, okay, we can't do a triple Vault this early on. It's too early in the season, frankly, to be vetoing against people, per se, right? I mean, these teams just don't have that kind of information at this point. They will by the time that we hit the first major challenges event. But still, right now, a little too early on to make those kind of processed vetoes, as it were. But still, I mean, right now, the way that the SMGs are playing, CT are loving Vault. And, I mean, it's perfect, mate. Honestly, I absolutely love this because he's immediately showing us why.
He's not even settling for the point. He's going to tell his players, come haunt me off spawn. Just take time, buy time for his team to look to get around the map. And again, first tick of progress already in at the A site. Now, LuInderJaSabby just in a position to be able to find some of these kills to slow down what they're doing. 2 for 2 in the trade. Gunzy looks to come alive for a couple as they start to get some semblance of P1 control back in their hands. Off spawn, though, to CTE flying forward, looking to try to get back onto the site. A tick and a half of progress in, and for your LuInderJaSabby, unfortunately, you haven't been able to drain much of this because of the tempo and speed that CTE are playing at.
Yeah, CT are just running at you at the moment. I will say, for all the pressure that CT have applied early on in this control, the end result is not that staggering against LuInderJaSabby. It might now be so, though. The triple stack comes through for the middle of the map, and CT are able to get control. Gunzy wants to play spoiler, though, and gets found out. That's so unfortunate there. Prolu with the reads, and things now might go from bad to worse for LuInderJaSabby here, as CT now starting to knock at the door. They feel ready to make this hit. Can they follow up with some actual kills? Illy actually managed to take a couple of players down here. That's going to give LuInderJaSabby some breathing room, but immediately as I say that, a couple of kills come out from Spart, and that breathing room is immediately removed.
Now Fire stuck between a rock and a hard place, but he's going to look to find a way to get the initial kill with his teammate finding it in support. Back and forth, playing at an electric pace this control has gone so far. Sitting around 80 seconds left in this control round, and again, you have the numbers here. You just need to find the kills. Opening up with that one should be enough to get things going. You're spawning so far. You should be able to read that the flank is coming. No one's arrows turned around just yet. Here comes the retake attempt.
Yeah, this is a massive gamble coming through from LuInderJaSabby to not hit this one through the front, instead to go for a straight flank, because this can happen. You've got absolutely no pressure. Huke pushed all the way forward, is forcing those guys to spawn out in Narnia, and CTE get it done. And I was going to say, I mean, it didn't feel that oppressive for the vast majority of the round. Beyond the map control, the tempo, I should say, from CTE, there wasn't really much in the way of, I guess, oppression against LuInderJaSabby. It just, I don't know, dude. It felt like towards the end, it was just like one massive collapse that really got CTE control of that second control zone.
It just felt like almost, again, a lack of just situational awareness, where it seemed like 3 to 4 of them, definitely 3, tried to push through P1 to maybe try to hit a route. They just weren't aware of how many people were stacked on the point. And when you lose track of that, well, that point can disappear quite quickly, and CTE take advantage of that. Able to walk away with round 1. Halfway decent life advantage. So when you can walk away with an offense, especially on Vault, you know you're feeling good if it happens to go the direction of a round 5. But I don't think CTE wants this to go any further than necessary, as they open up Hook once again with the first blood, as he's already active around the map. And the rest of CTE following in tow, trying to get aggressive and into the spawn side of LuInderJaSabby. They're not going to make this easy. They're going to make them work for every inch of real estate.
Flames might start very strong here for LuInderJaSabby. Is that enough, though? CTE have not been dispelled from the point. Double from ProLoot, immediately followed up by a double from Spark. The long-time duo for CTE now. Clearing house. And now something I don't think LuInderJaSabby wanted to face. Spark trying to put a spawn trap together. LuInderJaSabby are going to have to find a way back in towards Control Zone A. Can they get it done? SMGs wanting to move forward here. Huke. Double Spark for number 3. CTE just closing things out so damn easily. I mean, immediately, as soon as there's any pressure from LuInderJaSabby whatsoever, CTE know how to absolve them of the problem.
And this is just a squad that's, again, so good at playing off of one another. You can tell that they trust each other's comms based on how they're moving around the map. Anytime someone finds themselves in an oddball situation, they always are in a position to trade one another out. They never find themselves, at least in the respawn, in a situation where they're down and out and they're in complete control of this control, no pun intended, for the time being. Sure, you're going to stop the point if your Flames over towards B. Maybe try to play a couple players also on both sides, but again, can your reinforcements get in? No, Spart is privy to cutting them off. You just need to find these island players and close this out, but Fire, making this a little bit interesting for now. Spart looks to take him down.
10 seconds. Maybe that pressure over towards B is going to give LuInderJaSabby a shot at A, or maybe not. Flames jumping towards the point. Can he find any value? No, absolutely not. Fire now really, I was going to say no choice but to full send it towards the point, but instead chooses to pre-aim. And how about that for a stark difference between rounds number 1 and rounds number 2? The offensive effort from CT is about as successful as you could possibly ask for. Round number 2 for LuInderJaSabby, I mean, they basically get, what, nothing? Not even really any looks at either of the 2 points?
No, they were close to closing that tick in on B, but didn't quite get it. So you go from getting all 6 ticks for CTE and a 6 life advantage, and the defensive prowess they were able to have there held LuInderJaSabby to 0 ticks of progress and an 11 life deficit. So again, we talked about the stark offensive differences, but let's talk, even on the flip side of that. Why is that? Because CTE is playing so damn well. And would you look at who's on a 10 spree?
Huke. I don't know why it took me so long there. So I was like, scanning across the entirety of the podcast. I was like, oh, yeah, who is on a 10 spree? I don't know why I didn't just immediately shortcut to Huke, because I mean, let's be honest, that's just Huke at this point. Yeah, 10 spree in a row for Huke. Not a surprise given how he's been playing Vault so far today. Again, how many times do we have to say it? It really should not be in challenges whatsoever. But alas, he is, and he's doing Huke things here in challenges. CT now looking to try and make a slow but steady capture over by A. Only one more player to contend with from LuInderJaSabby who have gotten past the 25-yard line. That's going to be Gunsy, who does at the very least take out the threat in Spark. ProLoot also down for the count. So Gunsy he basically starts the revolution there for LuInderJaSabby. Huke off the respawn immediately starts to get going once again. But CT, I mean, they have been cleared.
Now double push through Cat. They're going to look to push beyond this and maybe hit a wrap onto the point as they are figuring through the calls. Everyone is grouped up and around this A site. One tick of progress, and now can you win a couple more gunfights to really lock this down? Illy gonna be making waves here, gonna be playing movement timing, but again, going to lose the gunfight in that. Now you have mid-map control, but they're trying to apply pressure towards B, trying to make them make a decision off of spawn of where they want to go. And with the numbers they have here, with control of top art, LuInderJaSabby quickly have to make a move.
They do indeed. CTE really starting to apply the pressure now. Streak coming down from Sparta as CTE want to get control of B. Second tick about to be through here. You can't just pre-aim this one, or maybe you can. Flames will get one. Is that enough to provide some space for Illy? Yes, it is. A couple of kills do come through here for LuInderJaSabby, and they do clear out B. So with 30 seconds on the clock, CTE can have to revert back towards A.
Definitely need to find a way to secure one of these sides. Fortunately, they have 2 ticks at B, but like you said, the time coming down to needing to make a concentrated effort towards one of these sites. LuInderJaSabby privy to that information, and now know that they just need to hold irons. Win their gunfights here is going to be one last push coming in from CTE.
10 seconds. Can CTE get anything done here? Spark produces 1 kill. Hugh for another one. Hugh really needed to find a little bit more value there. Fortunately enough, he is going to provide enough space for Prolute to perhaps throw a Hail Mary to save this round. And there's still players inside, but no! Flames will come through for the triple and immediately wipe out the opposition. So LuInderJaSabby, they live to see another round.
Is it the kickstart enough that they need to bounce back into this one? Not only do they need 3 straight rounds here, they're going to need 3 straight maps to get back into the series and overtake it as well. So a lot of work for them to do, but as you hear time and time again, 1 round at a time, 1 gunfight at a time. LuInderJaSabby need to control what they can. A good round out of them to play situations better like we had called for. And now, on the offensive try, they have to find a way to find success here. They have not, where CTE has. What do they have to make this stick?
LuInderJaSabby already looking a little bit more composed comparatively to what they were last round. Last round around? Whatever. You trying to provide some pressure though for CTE, trying to create some space, and his presence alone, he only finds 1 kill, but you can see the Voldemort-like presence that he has on the map. It's enough to terrify LuInderJaSabby, but they're going to have to revert back to the player that was over towards A. That's Prolute, and they're down for the count. So LuInderJaSabby, I mean, they look a lot more confident than they did in previous rounds.
26 and 10 is what Hook's out to. Players watching each other's crosses and backs though, so 1 tick of progress going to come in for LuInderJaSabby. 45 seconds remaining. And at this point, CTE had 4 ticks of progress. So it's just so tricky, you know, comparatively to how the playstyles go. You can't compare it one over top of the other. But offensively speaking for this map, it has just not gone away where LuInderJaSabby have been able to step on time. They've had mid-map presence here, just not confident enough to be able to step on time and get themselves any amount of progress accrued. 3 down in the feed now. The cross coming in. 20 seconds remaining. And you can tell they were uncomfortable this entire time. The initial break-off looked confident, looked composed, but all of it falling apart here.
10 seconds now on the clock for something to happen. For LuInderJaSabby on this offense, it's all falling apart in front of our very eyes. Last-ditch effort. You are not getting past Prolute. You're not getting past CTE. Caps will put the final nail on the coffin as CTE wipe out LuInderJaSabby 3-0 in the series. They had to fight for a little bit more in the control, but that fight was not enough to keep CTE at bay.
Definitely convincing fashion out of CTE. Search and destroy, we caught 6-3 here in the control. I mean, again, 22 and 17 out of Prolute. Another, 30 bomb for Hook to drop. Sparty, Capsule doing their thing as well. How influential was Spart in making sure that, again, he was playing that cutoff off of spawn, whether it was offensively or defensively. He was just that AR trusted to be in a spot to, again, if not find the kill, give information to the team on where they were looking to make their next push. So stuff that doesn't show up in the scoreboard, a lot of these players are still taking responsibility for and doing and using to help their team find these wins. And again, for LuInderJaSabby, you could point to a lot of things that didn't grow right for them. I think maybe a broad stroke statement you could make is they got outslayed for the entirety of that series, and that can definitely make things more challenging when you're constantly at a deficit and you don't have one player maybe rising to the occasion to help kind of rally the troops and bring everyone. Just lackluster slaying performances. I mean, we didn't, calling the name of Gunsy, right? Sabby had a slow day in general.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're going to bow out. Just someone who we have seen time and time again just make brilliant plays. And again, Alex had called it earlier. COD can sometimes be a day-to-day game. Do you show up? Do you not? Gunsy couldn't get things going. Definitely a key piece for that team as well. They fall short in Cup 1, but they have things they can go back and work on to improve for the next Cup.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Well, that's a 3-0 to CTE then. Unfortunately for LIJS, they'll have to bow out in top 6, but it's not the worst placement in the world considering how many teams, of course, enter these tournaments and how competitive the North American region is. So that means I believe that just 4 teams remain in North America and we'll be continuing on the bracket very soon. As a matter of fact, we've got a treat for you guys because that was just an appetizer. The main course is coming up in just a moment here with the upper bracket finals not that far away. On the other side of the break, we'll have that and some more. Maybe, I don't know, I'm probably promising too much here. We'll have some Call of Duty challenges. We'll have something. Join us after.